Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some jaw-dropping news that has left Pawn Stars fans absolutely stunned. Rick Harrison, the well-known star of the hit reality show, has been sentenced to life in prison. That's right, you heard it correctly. The man famous for his keen business sense and extensive knowledge of antiques is now embroiled in a shocking and unforeseen legal fight. But how did this all unfold? How did a man who created an empire from a pawn shop find himself in such a devastating predicament? If you're as shocked by these developments as we are, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our latest updates. Feel free to drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on this shocking story. Richard Harrison, better known as Rick Harrison, is an American entrepreneur and TV personality, born on March 22, 1965, in Lexington, North Carolina. His journey to becoming a household name on Pawn Stars was filled with challenges. At just 2 years old, his family moved to San Diego, California, where he grew up. However, Rick's early years were marked by struggles. Diagnosed with epilepsy at 8, he often missed school and spent much of his time reading. During these periods of self-education, he developed an impressive knowledge of history, which would later become a key asset in his career. His health issues led him to drop out of school in 10th grade, but instead of seeing it as a setback, he used it as fuel to teach himself, especially in business and history. As a teenager, Rick began working with his father, Richard Benjamin Harrison, better known as the Old Man, on various business ventures. This experience helped him hone his ability to evaluate the value and authenticity of items, a skill that would become crucial in his future career. At 17, Rick's girlfriend Kim got pregnant, and the couple decided to marry. They had 2 sons, Corey and Adam, but after 8 years of marriage, they divorced in 1981. Rick and his family relocated to Las Vegas, Nevada, where his father opened the gold and silver coin shop. In 1989, the shop officially became the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, the iconic pawn shop that would later be featured as the main setting for Pawn Stars. The early years were challenging, with Rick and his father facing tough customers and even dangerous situations. However, these hardships helped Rick build a strong reputation in Las Vegas, thanks to his deep knowledge of collectibles and historical artifacts. If you think this story is shocking, share it with your friends so everyone can know. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Together, we'll keep you in the loop on all the developments in this case and what's next for Pawn Stars. Seeing the entertainment potential in the pawn industry, Rick started considering the idea of a reality TV show to showcase the daily operations of the shop. Though initially rejected, he didn't give up. After years of perseverance, he finally secured a deal with the History Channel in 2009, and that's when Pawn Stars officially debuted. The show gave viewers an inside look into the pawn world, showcasing intriguing deals, rare antiques, and fascinating historical stories. It featured Rick, his son Corey Big Hoss Harrison, his father, Old Man Harrison, and his close friend Austin Chumley Russell. Together they evaluated, bought, sold, and exchanged valuable historical items, often engaging in tense negotiations. Pawn Stars became an instant hit, propelling Rick from a local pawn shop owner to a TV personality. His no-nonsense speaking style, sharp negotiating skills, and vast knowledge quickly made him a fan favorite. Rick's iconic catchphrase, "The best I can do is," became a signature moment whenever he made his final offer for an item. Pawn Stars wasn't just entertainment. It also offered educational value, with each episode providing fascinating historical insights about the items brought into the shop. This unique blend helped the show appeal to a broad audience, from kids to adults, making it one of the standout programs on the History Channel. Under Rick's leadership, the pawn shop quickly became a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the globe. Fans flocked to see the big deals in person and even had the chance to appear in episodes. As a result, revenue from the shop soared, leading to new business ventures, including souvenir sales, books, and even restaurant openings. Rick's fame stretched beyond Pawn Stars, with appearances on numerous TV programs, interviews with major magazines, and speaking engagements at business events. His business acumen and entrepreneurial journey have inspired many. As the driving force behind the success of Pawn Stars, Rick Harrison became renowned not only for his sharp business sense, but also for his decisive and pragmatic leadership style. On the show, he often served as the calm and collected figure, keeping his son Corey's impulsive decisions and Chumley's antics in check. From a young boy who dropped out of school due to epilepsy to a successful entrepreneur and TV icon, Rick Harrison has crafted his own remarkable success story. While Pawn Stars may continue to evolve, there's no denying that Rick is the heart and soul behind the show's rise to fame. The relationship between Rick Harrison and his father, Richard "Old Man" Harrison, went beyond a typical father-son bond. It was one built over years of working side by side. Together, they not only established the gold and silver pawn shop, but also shared a business philosophy grounded in honesty and intelligence. When Old Man passed away in 2018, Rick carried on running the business with the values his father had instilled in him, honoring the family legacy. Despite his success with Pawn Stars, Rick's personal life has had its share of highs and lows. After his first marriage ended, he married Tracy Harrison, and they spent 27 years together before divorcing in 2011. 2 years later, Rick remarried Deanna Burdee in a special ceremony officiated by Danny Coker, star of Counting Cars, with Chumley serving as the ring bearer. While Rick keeps his family life largely private, the rare moments when he opens up about his wife and children on the show reveal that he is a devoted family man, always striving to balance fame, work, and personal life. Rick Harrison didn't stop with Pawn Stars. He expanded his business empire by opening Rick's Rollin' Smoke BBQ and Tavern at Pawn Plaza, right next to the gold and silver pawn shop. In 2011, he co-authored License to Pawn, Deals, Steals, and My Life at the Gold and Silver, where he shared behind-the-scenes stories about his life and career as a savvy entrepreneur. Always looking for new opportunities, Rick continues to grow his brand and expand his business ventures. Rick's skill in appraising items has been showcased through thousands of transactions on Pawn Stars, covering everything from historical documents and classic cars to rare artifacts. Despite his vast knowledge, Rick isn't hesitant to consult experts when faced with items outside his area of expertise, demonstrating both caution and business savvy. One of his standout purchases was a 2001 New England Patriots Super Bowl championship ring, which he bought for $1,600 and later had valued much higher. Another notable deal was a collection of Spanish gold coins recovered from a 1715 shipwreck, highlighting Rick's deep passion for history and valuable artifacts. Despite his overwhelming success, Rick's life has not always been smooth sailing. In 2023, he unexpectedly became the focus of a federal investigation, shocking fans and those close to him. FBI agents, IRS investigators, and representatives from the Department of Cultural Heritage Protection conducted a massive search at Rick's home and gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas. Witnesses at the shop described a scene straight out of a movie, with employees and customers being detained while agents seized computers, documents, and several artifacts from the store. Rick's son, Corey Harrison, was at the scene and later revealed that everything unfolded so rapidly it seemed almost unreal. Video footage of Rick being escorted out of his home by Secret Service agents quickly spread on social media, igniting a wave of speculation as more details about the incident emerged. Authorities are investigating allegations of a sophisticated tax evasion scheme, money laundering, and the sale of potentially illicit artifacts. These allegations stem from suspicious transactions flagged by financial institutions, as well as complaints from several former business partners. Despite the storm of public scrutiny, Rick has remained calm, continuing to run his business while awaiting clarity from the investigation. Regardless of the challenges, there's no denying that Rick Harrison is one of the most influential reality TV figures. From a bookish young boy to a successful entrepreneur and an icon of Pawn Stars, Rick's journey is a true testament to perseverance, talent, and the ability to adapt to any challenge. In the weeks following the raid, the History Channel temporarily halted production of Pawn Stars, releasing a brief statement saying they were monitoring the situation and would make a decision once more information became available. Meanwhile, gold and silver pawn shop remained open, but visitor numbers dropped significantly due to the legal troubles surrounding Rick Harrison. Rick's representatives quickly denied any wrongdoing, stating that the investigation was simply a misunderstanding and would soon be resolved. Rick's attorney, David Marshall, a well-known lawyer in Las Vegas with experience representing high-profile clients, reassured the public that Rick had always operated his business transparently and in full compliance with the law. As the investigation progressed, troubling details began to surface. Authorities claimed to have evidence showing that Rick had been involved in a sophisticated scheme to intentionally undervalue certain historical artifacts to lower taxes, while secretly selling them at their true market value in private transactions. Investigators also accused Rick of purchasing stolen artifacts through intermediaries, including valuable historical documents and items from museums and private collections. Court records later revealed that the investigation was triggered by a former employee of Rick, who decided to come forward. This individual claimed to have been directly involved in acquiring several valuable items and provided details about a separate accounting system used to record sensitive transactions that Rick allegedly wanted to keep hidden from the official books. Rick was arrested shortly after, but he was released on bail the following day and quickly faced court. He was charged with several serious offenses, including tax evasion, money laundering, trafficking stolen property, and conspiracy to illegally buy and sell historical artifacts. While attorney David Marshall continued to assert his client's innocence, the pressure from the prosecution steadily mounted. The trial stretched on for nearly a year, with a series of evidence presented. Initially, Rick strongly denied all allegations, but as former colleagues began to testify against him, his situation grew increasingly dire. Prosecutors presented a range of financial documents, encrypted messages, and testimonies from former employees who claimed Rick had instructed them to alter records to conceal large transactions. One of the most shocking pieces of evidence was a series of messages between Rick and an undisclosed supplier, in which Rick allegedly discussed how to erase the provenance of an 18th-century document believed to have been stolen from a university archive. In another exchange, Rick was reportedly planning to arrange transactions to bypass reporting requirements for large cash payments. Despite the mounting pressure from the trial, Rick stuck to his stance when appearing on several television programs, particularly those with a conservative slant. He claimed that he was the victim of a campaign aimed at ruining his reputation and the success of Pawn Stars. Many of Rick's supporters rallied behind him, creating hashtags like #FreeRick and organizing protests outside the courthouse to express their discontent with how the case was being handled. For a segment of the public, Rick's downfall came as a massive shock, as the image of a sharp but straightforward businessman on television was now overshadowed by legal troubles. The final verdict stunned many, including legal experts. When the judge read the sentence, the courtroom fell silent. Rick, who had remained composed throughout the trial, turned pale upon hearing the verdict. His son, Corey, sat behind him with his head in his hands, while Chumley, Rick's longtime friend, quickly exited the courtroom in tears. Some experts believed the sentence was too harsh considering the charges, but the judge stressed that the punishment not only reflected the financial crimes, but also served as a penalty for the irreparable damage to cultural and historical heritage that Rick had contributed to. Amid the controversies surrounding the case, many loyal fans continue to believe that Rick deserves sympathy. They formed support groups on social media, stressing that, regardless of the outcome, Pawn Stars has played a crucial role in helping audiences connect with history in a more engaging way than ever before. "Rick taught me to love history in a way that school never could," one fan shared. "Now we will show him that we've never forgotten the good things he brought to us." Mr. Harrison, you have presented yourself to the American public as a protector of history, someone who values artifacts and cherishes our shared heritage, the judge said during the sentencing. In reality, you have been involved in an illegal network, contributing to a systematic looting and destruction of priceless cultural heritage for personal gain. The court cannot overlook the severity of these actions. These powerful words echoed through the courtroom, signaling the official end of Rick Harrison's illustrious career as a familiar face on Pawn Stars. Immediately after the verdict, Rick's legal team filed an appeal, arguing that the sentence was too harsh and violated his civil rights due to the non-violent nature of the crime. They also requested Rick's release on bail while awaiting the appeal, but this request was denied. The image of Rick being escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs quickly became a dominant feature in news outlets and on social media. Public reaction quickly became divided. Many of Rick's loyal fans voiced skepticism, suggesting that there was something off about the case and that Rick had become a scapegoat for a larger issue within the artifact trade. Meanwhile, historians and cultural heritage experts supported the harsh sentence, seeing it as a necessary step to combat the illegal trade of historical artifacts. In response, Rick's fan community launched the Hearts for Harrison campaign, gathering over 100,000 signatures calling for a review of the verdict. "We don't deny that Rick may have made mistakes, but this sentence is not justice, it's vengeance," said Melissa Jenkins, the campaign organizer. "A life sentence for a non-violent crime is unjust. We urge everyone to sign the petition or donate to Rick's legal fund. Every prayer, every supportive message, every small contribution could help give him a fair chance in his appeal." Rick's son, Corey Harrison, also shared his thoughts. "My dad may have made mistakes, but he doesn't deserve to die in prison. He deserves a chance to make things right." Meanwhile, the History Channel quickly severed all ties with Rick, officially canceling Pawn Stars and removing all reruns from its schedule. In an official statement, the network expressed deep disappointment in Rick's actions, while reaffirming its commitment to preserving and respecting cultural heritage. Before his legal troubles, Rick Harrison was not just a familiar face in the reality TV world, but also a sharp businessman who built a vast empire extending far beyond the gold and silver pawn shop. Although customer traffic dropped after the scandal, the shop remained a popular Las Vegas destination. To regain public trust, Corey worked to reposition the store by emphasizing transparency in all transactions and collaborating with museums and educational organizations to promote ethical collecting. In an emotional interview 6 months after Rick's conviction, Corey discussed the challenges of maintaining the family business while addressing the issues raised during the trial. "We've implemented strict verification processes for every transaction. What happened was a mistake, and we're committed to being part of the solution, not the problem, he affirmed. Austin Chumley Russell, who viewed Rick as a father figure and mentor, also expressed mixed emotions. "I've learned a lot from Rick, the solid business principles that I'll carry with me for life," Chumley shared in a podcast interview. "But I also have to accept that there was a side to him that I didn't see, or maybe I didn't want to see." For the Harrison family, the focus now is on supporting Rick through the appeal process while working to restore their reputation and protect the future of the iconic pawn shop. Corey taking over the business surprised many, given his previously impulsive personality on Pawn Stars. However, with his business acumen, Corey has proven that he's capable of steering the family through these challenging times. "The encouragement from fans has been a huge source of strength for my dad," he shared in a recent press statement. Corey revealed that he reads every letter he receives and draws strength from the fact that many people still believe in the Harrison family during this difficult period. The family has been holding weekly prayer gatherings on Sundays in front of the pawn shop, where loyal fans gather to show their support for Rick. For those unable to make it to Las Vegas, the family encourages them to send letters, cards, or even memorabilia from Pawn Stars to bring joy to previous viewers. "Small gestures like that mean a lot to someone going through the darkest time of their life," Corey shared. Despite the challenges, Corey believes the gold and silver pawn shop can overcome them. "My dad taught me everything about this business. The good values he instilled are the foundation I'm building on. We've made some big mistakes, but this shop has been a part of Las Vegas for over 30 years, and I'm determined to make sure it lasts for at least another 30 years. Rick Harrison's journey is truly remarkable, evolving from a small-time asset broker to a successful businessman, reality TV star, and now a life-sentenced prisoner. This dramatic turn of events highlights how quickly fortunes can change, particularly under the intense scrutiny of fame. Cultural commentators have likened Rick's downfall to a Shakespearean tragedy, where a person with deep knowledge of history ultimately turned the very artifacts he once revered into tools that led to his destruction. Rick's story now serves as a cautionary tale about the temptations of success and the fragile line between smart business strategies and criminal behavior. This sudden turn of events has not only shocked the reality TV world, but also left his family business in a precarious position without the charismatic leader it once had. During this difficult time, Rick Harrison needs all the support he can get. If you're a fan of Pawn Stars and value what Rick has contributed over the years, consider sending words of encouragement, positive thoughts, or prayers his way. The Harrison family has set up a special website where fans can send messages, which will be forwarded to Rick in prison. According to the family, receiving these messages from supporters has been a great source of strength for him during this difficult time. The website also provides an address for receiving supportive letters, hoping that each letter will bring a little light to Rick during this challenging period. As a statement from the family emphasizes, Rick has always valued the audience of Pawn Stars and knows that your continued support means more than ever. Rick Harrison's journey continues with unprecedented turns in the reality television industry. We will keep you updated on this shocking case, one that not only affects an individual but also reshapes the family business and challenges the public's perception of success. The story of Rick Harrison serves as a powerful lesson about the unpredictable twists in life and the temptations of success. While his current outcome is a shock, it's undeniable that Pawn Stars has left a lasting impact on its fans. We'll have to wait and see if Rick can prove his innocence and make a comeback, or if Pawn Stars' legacy will continue to grow under the leadership of his son, Corey. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this story, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below the video. The sound of heavy breathing filled the Las Vegas federal courtroom as the judge delivered the final verdict. Rick Harrison and Austin Chumley Russell were overwhelmed by the weight of their sentences, collapsing in shock. The dramatic scene left the audience stunned, highlighting the intense emotions surrounding the case. A priceless moment, one that seemed unimaginable for television stars who had dominated the screen for years. Everything changed in an instant when the final ruling was announced, marking the unbelievable end to their public lives. But what led to this tense and shocking confrontation between the beloved Pawn Stars' personalities and the justice system? This explosive legal battle was not just an ordinary lawsuit, but a clash between image and reality, between beloved TV stars and harsh truths. Here's everything you need to know about the legal war that erupted, bringing a major shock that changed the entire public perception of the icons of History Channel. If you're curious about the untold stories of the Pawn Stars stars and their intense legal battle, don't forget to hit like, share this video so others can learn, and leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any exciting upcoming videos. Now, let's dive into the story. Kneeling, Harrison and Russell are widely regarded as two of the most influential figures in reality television, famous for their contrasting personalities, historical knowledge, and unmatched ability to bring authenticity to every episode of Pawn Stars, the hit show on History Channel. Their decade-long career on television includes iconic moments such as high-stakes negotiations, historical discoveries, and memorable interactions that have captivated millions of viewers worldwide. However, their legacy extends far beyond their television achievements, with their influence on the collectibles market, their contributions to popularizing history, and their intentional decision to build a tourism empire in Las Vegas, painting a picture of entrepreneurs who transformed a family pawn shop into a global phenomenon. Harrison's television career was built on a foundation of business acumen, historical expertise, and an unwavering commitment to the deal. Despite initial skepticism about the show's concept, he refused to let the doubters define him. Instead, he channeled his determination to build both the gold and silver pawn shop and his television presence. This eventually earned him a spot as one of the most well-known entrepreneurs in America. His performances garnered critical acclaim, solidifying his reputation as a shrewd but fair figure in the pawn industry. What sets Harrison apart is his ability to educate viewers about historical artifacts with depth and accessibility, resonating deeply with audiences across all demographics. While their television work made them famous, the behind-the-scenes businesses showcased their entrepreneurial mindset. After building their personal brand through the show, they diversified into restaurants, retail stores, and personal appearances, earning millions, which later became the center of a legal battle threatening to destroy their carefully built empire. The aftermath of Pawn Stars' success saw both legitimate businesses and alleged criminal enterprises follow drastically different paths. The trajectory of gold and silver pawn shops soared after the show's launch, becoming one of the most popular tourist destinations in Las Vegas, attracting millions of visitors annually. Their careful approach to sales, along with strong brand recognition, positioned them as a resilient symbol of American entrepreneurial spirit. While federal investigators faced immediate challenges, the complex web of transactions spanning multiple states and business entities posed major obstacles, with a small piece of final evidence eventually emerging. The stark contrast between the public business operations and the alleged underground activities created tensions that would escalate over time. "We built this business on knowledge and fair deals," Harrison often told reporters during the initial investigation. "But scrutiny makes you stronger. I was determined to cooperate fully, especially when the charges seemed unrelated to our actual operations." This determination fueled a methodical and increasingly public approach to their defense. While many of the targets of federal investigations may have completely avoided comment, Harrison and Russell maintained careful transparency throughout the process while asserting their innocence. Press conferences discussing the impact of the investigation on their business garnered sympathetic attention, identifying them as victims of overzealous prosecution. The early 2020s saw a stark contrast between public support and mounting evidence as both reached new levels. Fan campaigns declaring their innocence garnered millions of followers, while prosecutors quietly gathered financial records showing growing concerns over the image of a sophisticated criminal enterprise operating behind the legitimate pawn shop business. However, Harrison and Russell struggled with the mounting legal pressure, threatening to expose their alleged operational issues. Their legal team responded with increasingly complex strategies. "Facing allegations completely at odds with our public image has been devastating," Harrison admitted in a rare candid interview. "We turned to what we know best, transparency and truth, and hoped that would be enough for the public." The defense was in stark contrast to the increasingly focused prosecution. By 2022, the gap between their public persona and the alleged criminal activity had become vast. While supporters still believed in their innocence, federal prosecutors had assembled a case involving more than 15 million illegal transactions and sophisticated money laundering schemes through the pawn shop, which would soon be revealed in the most dramatic way possible. This ultimately led to criminal charges after years of investigation. A discovery during the 2022 audit of previously sealed financial records by forensic accountant Thomas Richards revealed these intricate transaction patterns in their business accounts. "You can clearly see systematic efforts to move illegal money through legitimate business resources specifically designed to conceal their origins," Richards explained during a quickly circulating congressional hearing among financial crime experts. The financial records became a focal point in legal circles as law enforcement analyzed the complex transaction network between the pawn shop and multiple shell companies. A week later, prosecutors revealed documents estimating the operation had laundered around $15.7 million using sophisticated structures designed to hide activities over many years. These were not simple accounting errors. These structures required intentional planning and maintenance over years, the lead prosecutor told the jury. Both Harrison and Russell played key roles. This mounting evidence revealed an alleged financial crime scheme, seemingly the final catalyst in the case. Within weeks, federal prosecutors had assembled a case and filed multiple charges against Harrison and Russell, including conspiracy to launder money and extortion, which could lead to life sentences if convicted on all charges. These charges weren't just about money. They represented a fundamental challenge to their core public image as honest entrepreneurs with knowledge and fair dealings, which had made them television icons. The legal actions sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, with experts calling this potentially the most significant case involving reality TV celebrities in history. Court records revealed startling details about the alleged criminal enterprise operating behind the pawn shop. Internal communications from 2018 showed many associates had actually warned of the possibility of exposure. However, concerns over maintaining their public image led to a calculated decision. The current structure carries an unacceptable risk of detection, read one secret document, recommending an immediate reorganization before further transactions were conducted. The first day of the trial was shaped as Harrison and Russell walked into the courtroom. Financial investigators were clearly monitoring their every move, while government lawyers arranged stacks of financial records in front of them. The beloved television personalities who once entertained millions were now facing the legal reckoning they had long avoided. Your Honor, this case involves a large-scale systematic money laundering operation. The prosecutor opened a careful investigation, building a facade of legitimate business while deliberately handling millions of dollars in illegal money. The trial quickly became tense when newly discovered financial records were presented in court. Harrison was seen shaking his head decisively, occasionally leaning in to whisper to his lawyer as particularly damaging evidence was brought forward. Meanwhile, Russell appeared increasingly distressed as the prosecution outlined his alleged role during the tense questioning process. Agent Miller, did your testimony state that Mr. Harrison personally directed these transactions? The prosecutor asked. His signature appeared on all the key documents. FBI investigator answered confidently, and these signatures allowed the establishment of shell companies specifically designed to conceal the source of the money. The courtroom became especially tense during the testimony regarding the timeline of the alleged operations. He stated that these financial structures were sophisticated enough to imply intentionality, not asking the prosecutor whether they required planning and widespread financial maintenance. The expert answered firmly, Harrison clearly agitated, adjusting his glasses. The judge admonished, "Please maintain decorum in my courtroom." Financial experts testified to the complex nature of the alleged money laundering operation. These structures were designed with one main purpose: to conceal the source of the money. Dr. Eleanor Jenkins, forensic accounting expert from Georgetown University, testified. The multiple layers of transactions did not serve legitimate business purposes. The defense focused on the legal aspects of their business and the potential misunderstandings of the complex financial arrangements, arguing that they had relied on professional advisors and had no intent to commit a crime. My client has built a legitimate business empire employing dozens of people, their lawyer argued, stating that these financial structures were indirectly recommended by experts they trusted. As the trial neared its conclusion, fans watched with deep interest. This was not just a legal battle, but the potential downfall of beloved television icons whose appeal had been built on authenticity and expertise. Financial forensics became the central element of the trial, with accountants tracing money across years of transactions. The figures were even more staggering than the amount of money laundered, with an estimated total of $15.7 million laundered through complex networks of shell companies, worth an estimated $2.3 million to maintain, and sophisticated accounting systems designed to conceal this operation, adding another $1.8 million in operating costs. On the final day, the courtroom was surrounded by supporters, some holding Pawn Stars memorabilia, while others wore shirts with the show's logo. The atmosphere felt electrified as Judge Eleanor Blackwood prepared to deliver the verdict after 8 weeks of testimony in the case of the United States versus Harrison and Russell. If you're surprised by this story, leave a comment with the number 1. If not, leave a comment with the number 0. Now, let's continue this story together. The judge began this court session carefully considering the evidence related to finances, transactions, business operations, and the actions of the defendants over the past 7 years. The room was so quiet you could hear the rustling of papers as Harrison and Russell leaned forward, their hands tightly clenched in front of them. The court finds convincing evidence that the defendants engaged in systematic money laundering through sophisticated financial structures, the judge continued, particularly in creating and maintaining shell companies specifically designed to conceal the origins of the illegal funds. Harrison's eyes widened, Russell appeared visibly pale, and their family members exchanged worried glances. The court declared both defendants guilty on all charges. The judge stated confidently, "Considering the scale and sophistication of this operation, along with the public trust in the defendants' positions, the court must impose the maximum sentence." The judge's ruling was clear. Harrison and Russell would each receive a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years, along with the forfeiture of assets related to criminal activities. The court sentenced both defendants to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after serving 25 years. The judge further declared that all assets related to these illegal activities would be seized for the U.S. government. The reality struck them with a physical blow after a decade of building their television empire, having become symbols of historical knowledge and entrepreneurial spirit. This moment was something they could not have imagined. Instead, the reality of a life sentence, a direct contradiction to their carefully constructed public image, felt like the final episode of a series. No one expected it. Harrison's face went pale, beads of sweat forming on Russell's forehead as the judge continued reading the full verdict. Additionally, the defendants were required to make full restitution, and the judge's voice became distant, drowned out by the roaring in their ears. The courtroom began to spin, and their lawyers noticed something was wrong, placing a hand on their arm, but it wasn't enough. The beloved TV personalities who had entertained millions had now faced the legal reckoning they had long avoided. "Your Honor, this case involves a large-scale systematic money laundering operation." The courtroom trembled. The reality TV icons, once proud of their composure, now lay unconscious before the prosecutors and the world. "They are having severe physical reactions," a doctor in the courtroom shouted, pushing through the crowd. "Give them space. Someone call emergency services." As medical staff rushed in, photographers captured the scene that would dominate entertainment headlines worldwide. Rick Harrison and Chumley, the beloved Pawn Stars personalities, were carried off on stretchers, their emotional weight of legal defeat finally taking a physical toll. Outside the courtroom, family members were seen briefly comforting each other, while the executives of History Channel stood silently in shock, refusing to comment as they were escorted by security. The medical drama quickly overshadowed the legal verdict. Entertainment websites and social media exploded with reactions as fans shared updates and messages of support using hashtags like Pawn Stars Justice and Free Rick and Chum. Three days later, still looking pale but regaining composure, Harrison released a statement through his lawyer. "We assert our innocence and will appeal this verdict with every available resource," he wrote with characteristic determination. "The truth will ultimately come to light." Concerns over health seem to have changed something fundamental in the public narrative. In a surprising turn, some former business associates made statements questioning the verdict. According to an anonymous source, many in Las Vegas considered the sentences too harsh. Although official representatives would not comment on the possibility of an appeal or the specific legal strategies, Russell's next statement carried a defiant tone. "This fight is far from over," he said through his lawyer. "While we face the toughest challenge of our lives, we still believe in the appeal process and the truth." The entertainment world buzzed with speculation about what might come next. "This case has changed the landscape of reality television," commented a veteran producer. "The contrast between their public image and these allegations raises profound questions about authenticity in this genre." Media observers noted that both men seemed prepared for a lengthy appeals process. Fan forums immediately lit up with conspiracy theories and alternative explanations, although legal experts warned that appeals face significant hurdles. When asked directly about their clients collapsing in court, their lawyers offered a measured response. "The physical reactions you witnessed show the profound shock of innocent men facing an unjust punishment. We remain committed to proving their innocence through the appeals process." The legal battle had become something unexpected, a potential real-life crime story rather than a reality TV plot. Interest in Pawn Stars remained strong, with streaming services reporting increased viewership despite the convictions, as viewers revisited episodes to search for hidden clues about the dual lives of fans who had followed their careers for years. The case may serve as a profound lesson about the hidden gap between TV personas and reality. The collapse that shook the entertainment world wasn't just about men reaching their breaking point, but could be the beginning of a legal story that will test if their carefully crafted public image can withstand the ultimate challenge. What do you think about the shocking sentences for the Pawn Stars? If you find this story interesting and want to learn more about the Pawn Stars and their intense legal battle, don't forget to hit like, share this video with your friends, and leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any exciting upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Today, we're diving into a surprising story from a place few remember, but it's sure to leave you shocked. I will kick you! This is the shocking statement from the Pawn Stars community, as rumors spread that Richard Kevin Harrison, also known as Rick Harrison, has been sentenced to life in prison. Rick, famous for his practical approach to business and his encyclopedic knowledge, now faces a serious legal issue no one saw coming. If you want to learn more about this story, make sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any breaking updates. Stay tuned. We will be doing some work in the forgotten country and return to work. That's a good thing right there. I will kick him. That's shocking news for Pawn Stars fans as rumors began circulating that Richard Kevin Harrison, also known as Rick Harrison, has been sentenced to life in prison. Rick is famous for his practical approach to business and his encyclopedic knowledge on the show, but he suddenly found himself in serious legal trouble, something no one expected. For many years, Pawn Stars has entertained audiences by showing the fascinating world of trading rare artifacts, tough negotiations, and the daily dramas inside Rick Harrison's famous pawn shop in Las Vegas. But now, Rick's growing television career has taken a dark and unexpected turn. But exactly what did he do to deserve such a severe punishment? Let's dive into what led to this major turning point in Rick's life and the details of this shocking case. Richard Kevin Harrison, a famous American entrepreneur and television personality, was born on March 22, 1965, in Lexington, North Carolina. When he was just 2 years old, his family moved to San Diego, California, where he spent most of his childhood. As a young boy, Rick developed epilepsy at the age of 8, which led him to spend much of his childhood reading, contributing to his impressive historical knowledge that would later benefit his career. Rick's childhood wasn't easy. The battle with epilepsy caused him to frequently miss school, and he eventually dropped out in his sophomore year of high school. However, this setback didn't dampen his ambition or thirst for knowledge. Instead, he devoted all his time to self-education, voraciously reading books on various subjects, particularly history and business. This self-taught approach later became evident in his encyclopedic knowledge shown on Pawn Stars. As a teenager, Rick started working with his father on various business ventures, developing a keen eye for value and authenticity, skills that would prove invaluable in his future career. At the age of 17, Rick's girlfriend Kim became pregnant, prompting them to get married. The young couple eventually had 2 sons, Corey and Adam, before divorcing. After 8 years of marriage, in 1981, Rick's family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, where his father, Richard Benjamin Harrison, also known as the Old Man, opened a coin and bullion store in 1981. Eventually, the business grew into the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop by 1989, which would become the backdrop for Pawn Stars. Decades later, the transition from a coin shop to a pawn shop was a strategic move as the Harrison family realized the higher profit potential in the pawn business. The early years were full of challenges, with Rick and his father working long hours to establish a reputation in Las Vegas. Rick often found himself dealing with difficult customers and at times dangerous situations, experiences that would forge and hone his negotiating skills. By the early 2000s, Rick had become well known in Las Vegas for his expertise in various types of collectibles and historical artifacts. The pawn shop had become famous as a place where unique and valuable items could be found, attracting both locals and tourists. Recognizing the entertainment potential of his business, Rick began pitching the idea of a reality television show based on the daily activities of the pawn shop. After years of rejections and persistent efforts, Rick finally struck a deal with the History Channel in 2009. Pawn Stars premiered, following the day-to-day operations of the gold and silver pawn shop, featuring Rick, his son Corey Big Hoss Harrison, his father Richard Old Man Harrison, and his friend Austin Chumley Russell. The show became an instant hit, turning Rick from a local pawn shop owner into a television star. His blunt sayings, straight-talking style, and encyclopedic knowledge of historical artifacts made him a fan favorite. Rick's signature line, "The best I can do is become a legend," became iconic as he negotiated with customers wanting to sell their treasures. What set Pawn Stars apart from other reality TV shows was the educational aspect Rick emphasized. Every episode featured historical information about the items brought into the shop, with Rick often providing context and detailed background, showcasing his vast knowledge. This approach attracted a wide audience, making the show one of History Channel's most successful programs. Under Rick's leadership, the pawn shop expanded its operations, attracting tourists from all over the world to catch a glimpse of the stars or even appear on an episode. Merchandise sales soared, and Rick capitalized on his fame by writing books, making personal appearances, and even opening a restaurant. The success of Pawn Stars propelled Rick into new ventures. Rick Harrison, the famous personality, has appeared on many talk shows, been featured in magazines, and become a sought-after speaker at the business of defense. His story about success has resonated with many Americans, and his blunt business advice has earned him respect outside the entertainment industry. As the face of Pawn Stars, Rick is known for his sharp business acumen and straightforward approach. He is the voice of reason on the show, often reining in his son Corey's ambitious purchases or Chumley's occasional antics. His relationship with his father, the old man, demonstrated mutual respect, built over many years of working together. When his father passed away in 2018, Rick proved his commitment to honoring his legacy by continuing to run the business with the same principles. Rick's personal life during the height of Pawn Stars fame had its ups and downs. After his first marriage ended, he married Tracy Harrison, and they were together for 27 years before divorcing in 2011. In 2013, Rick married Deanna Barrett in a ceremony officiated by his Cars co-star, Danny Coker, with Chumley serving as the ring bearer. In his family life, while most aspects are kept private, they occasionally come up in discussions on the show, revealing a man devoted to his family despite the demands of fame and business. Rick expanded his business ventures beyond just running the pawn shop. Rick's Roland, a smoke shop, Baba, and tavern at Pawn Plaza next to the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. He also co-authored a licensing deal for pawn transactions in 2011, Steals and My Life at the Gold and Silver, which details his life and business. His entrepreneurial philosophy has always been to continuously seek new opportunities to grow his brand and expand his business operations. Throughout his career, Rick has shown remarkable ability to find value where others may overlook it. On Pawn Stars, audiences watch as he evaluates items ranging from historical documents to classic cars, ancient artifacts to modern collectibles. His expertise seems endless, though he often calls in experts when items fall outside his knowledge base, showing a prudent businessman aware of his professional limits. Rick has bought and sold many items on the show, some being great deals, while others were less than stellar. His expertise in watches, guns, and historical U.S. items has often led to successful transactions, turning modest investments into significant profits for the shop. One of his most famous purchases was a Super Bowl ring from the 2001 New England Patriots, which he bought for $20,600 and was valued much higher. Another notable purchase was a collection of Spanish gold doubloons recovered from a 1715 shipwreck, reflecting his interest in both history and precious metals. Rick's life has faced many unpleasant experiences, mostly stemming from choices he made. Honestly, in 2023, his legal troubles began when federal agents raided his Las Vegas home as part of an investigation that had been going on for months. Initially, the public was unaware of the nature of the investigation, leading to widespread speculation online. The raid came as a complete shock to fans and even those in the industry. Close to Rick, FBI agents, along with IRS investigators and representatives from the Department of Cultural Heritage Protection, executed a search warrant at Rick's home and the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. Employees and customers present during the raid at the shop were temporarily detained, while agents seized computers, documents, and some items from the shop's inventory. Rick's son, Corey, who was present at the store during the raid, later described the scene as surreal and likened it to a movie scene, according to witnesses. Rick remained calm as the Secret Service escorted him out of the house, staying composed even as neighbors recorded the moment on their cell phones. The footage quickly spread on social media as details began to emerge. It was clear that authorities were investigating allegations of a sophisticated tax evasion scheme, money laundering operations involving high-value items passing through the pawn shop, and claims of trading in illegally obtained artifacts. The investigation was clearly triggered by suspicions raised by transactions flagged by financial organizations and complaints from former business partners. In the weeks following the raid, the History Channel suspended the airing of Pawn Stars and issued a brief statement saying they were monitoring the situation and would make an appropriate decision when more information became available. The gold and silver pawn shop remained open, though it saw a significant decrease in customers due to the legal cloud hanging over Rick, which began to affect the business's operations. Rick's representatives strongly denied any wrongdoing, describing the investigation as a misunderstanding that would soon be cleared up. His attorney, David Marshall, a well-known lawyer in Las Vegas recognized for representing high-profile clients, assured the public that Rick had always operated his business with integrity and fully complied with all existing laws. However, as the investigation progressed, troubling details began to surface. Authorities claimed they had found evidence indicating that Rick had been involved in a complex operation to underreport the value of certain historical artifacts for tax purposes, while selling them through private channels at their actual market value. Additionally, investigators accused Rick of knowingly purchasing stolen historical items through intermediaries, including documents of significant historical importance and artifacts belonging to museums and private collections, according to court documents later made public. The investigation was partly initiated by a former employee who had worked closely with Rick in acquiring some of these high-value items. The whistleblower provided the authorities with detailed information about a separate accounting system that Rick is accused of maintaining for transactions he wanted to keep hidden from official records. Rick was arrested but released on bail the next day and had to appear in court a few days later. He faces several serious charges, including tax evasion, money laundering, trafficking in stolen property, and conspiracy to traffic in illegally obtained cultural artifacts. His attorney, David Marshall, confirmed that Rick strongly denies all charges and will fight against them in court. The legal battle then dragged on for nearly a year, with Rick maintaining his innocence throughout the proceedings. However, as more evidence surfaced and former associates testified against him, his position became increasingly precarious. The prosecution presented financial records, encrypted messages, and testimonies from former employees who claimed Rick had instructed them to alter documents for several high-value items. They also provided evidence showing that he had set up foreign accounts to conceal profits from particularly valuable transactions. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was a series of text messages between Rick and an unidentified supplier discussing how to remove Providence from an 18th-century document, allegedly stolen from a university archive. In another exchange, Rick was accused of discussing how to structure a sale to avoid triggering reporting requirements for large cash transactions. Throughout the pre-trial proceedings, Rick's public persona remained unchanged. He appeared several times on conservative talk shows, claiming he was being targeted due to his political views and success. His supporters rallied around him, creating hashtags like #RickFree and organizing protests outside the courthouse during hearings. Rick had made a deep impression on many fans, who emphasized that, regardless of the allegations, his positive impact on their lives through his educational approach on Pawn Stars deserved recognition. One supporter shared, "Rick taught me to love history in a way that school never could." They called on those influenced by Rick's work to join these online support communities. The courtroom was silent as the sentence was read. Rick, who had remained calm throughout the trial, visibly paled. His son, Corey, sat behind him, his head in his hands, with Chumley, who had attended every day of the trial to support his mentor, seen quickly leaving the courtroom, deeply emotional. The sentence shocked legal experts, with many saying it was disproportionate to the crimes Rick was accused of. The judge emphasized that the sentence not only reflected the financial crimes, but also the irreparable damage to historical and cultural heritage caused by Rick's involvement in the trafficking of looted artifacts. The judge stated that although Rick presented himself as a protector of history and heritage, in reality, he had engaged in looting and systematically destroying irreplaceable items for personal gain. After the sentence, Rick's legal team immediately filed an appeal, arguing that the punishment was excessive and unconstitutional due to the non-violent nature of the crime. They also requested that Rick be granted bail while awaiting the appeal, but this request was denied. The image of Rick in handcuffs quickly dominated the news. Public reactions to his sentence were mixed, with many longtime fans expressing disbelief, arguing that there must have been a miscarriage of justice during the trial. Meanwhile, those in the academic and cultural heritage community welcomed the harsh sentence as a necessary deterrent against the trafficking of looted artifacts. Rick's situation sparked an unprecedented wave of solidarity within his fan community. The Heart for Harrison campaign collected over 100,000 signatures on a petition demanding a review of Rick's case. Supporters argued that the life sentence for nonviolent crimes was disproportionate and reflected revenge rather than justice. They urged people to participate in the campaign to support Rick, including signing the petition and donating to his legal defense fund. Corey, Rick's son, expressed that although his father made mistakes, he didn't deserve to die in prison and deserved a chance to make amends. This demonstrated the family's strong support for Rick during this challenging time. The History Channel, where Pawn Stars was broadcast, quickly distanced itself from Rick. They officially canceled the show and removed all reruns from the broadcast schedule. In their statement, the channel expressed deep disappointment with Rick's actions and affirmed their commitment to treating historical artifacts and cultural heritage with respect and legality, regardless of his legal troubles. Rick's impact on the reality TV world and the pawn industry remains significant. Before encountering legal issues, he successfully built an empire that expanded far beyond his pawn shop. His entrepreneurial spirit led him to open several restaurants and bars in Las Vegas, and he had plans to expand to other cities. The Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, now managed by his son Corey Harrison, remains a popular tourist destination in Las Vegas, although initial customer numbers dropped following Rick's legal troubles. Corey made efforts to rebrand the store, emphasizing transparency in all transactions and collaborating with museums and educational organizations to promote ethical collecting practices. In an emotional interview 6 months after his father's sentencing, Corey spoke about the challenges of preserving the family business while addressing the legitimate concerns raised during the trial. "We've implemented strict new protocols to verify the provenance of every item we purchase," he explained. "What happened was wrong, and I am committed to being part of the solution, not the problem." Chumley, who has always seen Rick as both a mentor and a father figure, publicly discussed his conflicting emotions. "I've learned so much from Rick, good business practices that I will carry with me forever," he said in a podcast interview. "But I have to accept that there's another side of him I never saw, or maybe didn't want to see." It has been difficult for the Harrison family, but their focus remains on rebuilding their reputation and business while supporting Rick throughout the appeals process. Corey, now fully in charge of the family enterprise, has shown great business acumen, surprising many who once knew him primarily as Rick's occasionally impulsive son on the show. The Harrison family has been deeply moved by the love and support from fans worldwide. "The encouraging messages you've sent are a lifeline for our father," Corey said in a recent press statement. "He's read every letter sent to him and has drawn strength from knowing so many still believe in him despite everything. Rick needs your support more than ever. Please continue to support Rick and the Harrison family by hitting like and subscribing to the channel to stay with them on this journey." The family has held prayer circles every Sunday outside the pawn shop, where loyal fans gather to show solidarity. If you can't make it to Las Vegas, the family encourages supporters to send letters, cards, or even photos of memorable moments from the show that brought joy to viewers. These small gestures make a big difference to a man facing his darkest hours. "My father taught me everything I know about this business," Corey said in a recent interview. "The good parts of that education are what I'm trying to build." Now we've made some big mistakes, but this picture has been part of Las Vegas for over 30 years, and I am determined to ensure it will be here for another 30 years. Rick's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary, from a small pawn shop owner to a reality TV star entrepreneur, and now a convicted criminal serving a life sentence. His transformation from a respected businessman to a public figure who lost his credibility shows how quickly fortunes can change, especially under the unforgiving spotlight of fame culture. Commentators have noted the almost Shakespearean nature of Rick's fall. A man with extensive knowledge of history, who ultimately failed to stop himself from turning historical artifacts into tools of his own destruction. One of the members of Pawn Stars in Trouble, Austin Russell, known as C.H. Lee, is in jail tonight. The gasps filled the Las Vegas courtroom as the judge handed down the final verdict for Ed Austin. Chumley Russell, overwhelmed by the weight of the sentence, collapsed in shock. The dramatic scene left onlookers stunned, highlighting the intense emotions surrounding the case. But what led to the shocking courtroom showdown between the beloved reality TV star and the justice system? Here's everything you need to know about the explosive legal battle that forced the beloved Pawn star to submit. Chumley is regarded by WID as one of the most entertaining figures in reality TV, praised for his humor, easygoing presence, and unparalleled ability to bring authenticity to every episode of the hit show Pawn Stars on the History Channel. His more than decade-long career on television included iconic moments such as him purchasing a pinball machine, his expertise in video games, and his memorable catchphrases. However, Chumley's legacy goes far beyond his television achievements. His influence on the collectibles market, His contributions to the fame of gold and silver pawn shop, and his intentional decision to build his personal brand all paint the picture of a man who has transformed from a regular pawn shop employee into a cultural phenomenon. Chumley's television career was built on the foundation of being likable. Chumley's natural charisma and unwavering commitment to being himself, despite facing initial skepticism, including being described as the clown of the shop, led him to refuse to let stereotypes define him. Instead, he redirected his focus into developing expertise in specific collectibles, eventually earning his place as a valuable member of the Pawn Stars cast. His performance earned him fan favorite status, solidifying his position as a breakout star of the show. What makes Chumley stand out is his ability to deeply connect with the audience, and his realism resonated strongly with viewers across the United States. While Chumley's television work made him famous, his business ventures showcased his strategic thinking. After building his personal brand through the show, he diversified into a candy clothing line and personal appearances, earning him millions of dollars. This would later fund his legal defense against the shocking charges that would affect his loyal fan base. The success of the Pawn Stars star led both the show and Chumley down significantly different paths. The trajectory of the History Channel series skyrocketed after its launch, becoming one of the most watched cable TV shows with over 500 episodes and airing internationally. The show's formula, combined with strong production values, positioned it as the most educational and entertaining reality TV program. While Chumley faced the challenges of sudden fame, the public eagerly embraced the knowledgeable character they saw on screen. Initially, they supported him heavily, and his personal appearances drew large crowds, a testament to his fame beyond the show's scope. However, the complete contrast between his on-screen persona and growing inner struggles created ongoing tensions over the years. "I've lived two completely different lives," Chumley told Entertainment Weekly in 2017. "But fame makes you feel invincible. I'm determined to enjoy every moment, especially when people recognize me everywhere I go." This determination pushed him into an increasingly lavish lifestyle, while the show remained focused on items and historical negotiations. Chumley's personal life expanded with luxury cars, a mansion, and an extensive collection of sneakers and jewelry. His social media posts showcasing his luxurious items garnered millions of views, creating a public image vastly different from his humble beginnings. Starting at the pawn shop in the mid-2010s, there was a stark contrast between career success and personal luxury, both of which reached new heights. The Pawn Stars' viewership peaked, with special episodes drawing over 7 million viewers, while his personal brand expanded, including his Chum's candy store on Las Vegas Boulevard and a successful product line behind the scenes. However, Chumley struggled with the pressure of fame, which threatened to derail his career. These issues, which he often attributed to the sudden shift from anonymity to fame, were challenging. "Going from a regular guy to someone who can't even go to Walmart without taking 500 pictures drives me crazy," he admitted in a rare, candid interview. "I turned to things that helped me cope, and it almost cost me everything." This personal chaos was in stark contrast to the increasingly professional nature of the show. In 2016, the gap between Chumley's public persona and his private reality had grown significantly. While the show portrayed him as a lovable, sometimes naive character adored by fans, his real-life circumstances had taken some concerning turns. These would soon be revealed in the most dramatic way possible. This ultimately led to legal trouble for Chumley after years of living lavishly. A police raid in March 2016 at his Las Vegas home was initially linked to a sexual assault investigation. "We executed a search warrant as part of an investigation," explained Officer Rodriguez in a press conference. "What we discovered in that search led to additional charges unrelated to the original investigation." The raid quickly became a major topic in entertainment circles, with websites analyzing the potential impacts on both Chumley and Pawn Star's future. A week later, TMZ revealed shocking details that stunned fans. Authorities had discovered guns, drugs, and drug paraphernalia scattered throughout Chumley's home. In a very far cry from the jovial personality viewers loved, "This is not the humble person we know on TV," one fan wrote in a viral social media post. This situation affected how fans would view the show, leaving them bewildered. "He never seemed like someone who had these kinds of problems." This discord between his public persona and private reality seemed to be the final catalyst. Within weeks, prosecutors had assembled a case and filed multiple felony charges against the reality TV star, including counts of weapon and drug possession. Chumley could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted on all charges. The charges not only carried legal consequences, they represented a fundamental threat to Chumley's carefully crafted public image, the foundation for his entire career and financial success. The lawsuit shook the entertainment industry, with experts calling it the possible end of the career of one of reality television's most recognizable figures. Court records revealed staggering details about the scale of the discoveries at Chumley's residence. Evidence logs showed that authorities had found various weapons, including assault rifles, along with numerous substances and related paraphernalia. However, in a significant turn of events, the sexual assault investigation that prompted the initial search did not lead to charges due to insufficient evidence. The defendant created a lifestyle that posed an unacceptable risk to public safety, read a prosecuting document recommending the maximum penalties based on the quantity and nature of the items discovered. On the first day of the trial, all eyes were on Chumley as he entered the courtroom. The camera flashes illuminated Chumley's sad expression as he entered the courtroom. His Pawn Star's colleagues were noticeably absent. A television personality who had entertained millions was now facing his day in court. The verdict in this case involved serious violations of controlled substances and weapons laws. The prosecutor had searched the defendant's home and discovered an arsenal of weapons, along with a large quantity of illegal substances. The trial quickly became tense as photos of seized items were displayed in court. Chumley was seen staring down at the floor, occasionally shaking his head as particularly damaging evidence was presented during the intense cross-examination. Tension escalated when detectives questioned whether his testimony could prove that Mr. Russell was running a drug distribution operation. Chumley's lawyer questioned the quantity and types of narcotics found, suggesting they could indicate personal use, though no scales, packaging material, or distribution lists, typically associated with trafficking, were found. The courtroom grew especially tense during the questioning about firearms. Chumley's lawyer asked about the collection of weapons, especially historical firearms, and whether such collections required proper permits and storage. The firearms expert responded, but Chumley appeared nervous, whispering to his attorney. The judge warned him to remain silent unless he was on the witness stand. Legal experts testified about potential sentencing guidelines. These charges often carried significant prison time. Former prosecutor James Wilson testified that the combination of weapons and controlled substances created a particularly severe legal situation. Chumley's defense focused on his lack of prior convictions and argued that his fame had led to poor judgment. His attorney argued that his public status created an environment where normal boundaries became blurred. My client got caught up in excessive whirlwind, clouding his judgment, his lawyer argued. He stressed that Chumley never intended to cause harm and had been a model public figure in many respects. As the trial neared its conclusion, fans watched with intense interest. This was not just a legal battle, but a major test of Chumley's public image. This marks the potential collapse of a TV personality whose appeal was built on his relatability and harmless character. The negotiation of the defense became the central focus of the trial, with lawyers from both sides engaging in extensive discussions about potential solutions. The implications of the case went beyond just Chumley's personal freedom, potentially causing significant damage to his career, reputation, and future role on Pawn Stars. There were considerations about Chumley's career, with estimated losses in the millions, along with the destruction of his reputation. His future on Pawn Stars hung in the balance, regardless of the outcome. On the final day of court, fans surrounded the courthouse, some holding banners of support, while others wore Pawn Stars memorabilia. The atmosphere grew even tenser as Judge Michael Davidson prepared to announce his sentence after Chumley's plea deal in the state of Nevada versus Russell case. Judge Davidson began the proceedings, carefully considering the plea deal negotiated between the prosecution and defense, along with all mitigating and aggravating factors. The room was so quiet that you could hear the rustling of papers as Chumley stood, his hands slightly trembling at his sides. The defendant pleaded guilty to one count related to weapons and one count related to drugs, and the remaining charges were dismissed as part of the deal. Chumley's expression remained tense, and his lawyers exchanged cautious glances. However, the court had to address the seriousness of the charges. The judge firmly stated that possessing both illegal drugs and improperly registered weapons posed a significant threat to public safety. The judge ruled that Chumley would serve 3 years of probation, undergo counseling, submit to regular drug tests, and have all the seized items from the raid confiscated. However, the truly shocking part of the agreement was the additional condition. Any violation of his probation terms would lead to an automatic 3-year prison sentence without further trial. Chumley had to fully understand these terms. In reality, this ruling felt like a devastating blow to Chumley after months of uncertainty and after facing the potential of being locked behind bars for decades. This moment, which should have been a relief, instead was overwhelming, as he realized his freedom now depended entirely on perfect compliance. His face was drenched in sweat, beads of it rolling down his forehead as the judge continued to read the full conditions. As the judge continued to announce the conditions of the sentence, including that the defendant must complete 200 hours of community service, the judge's voice gradually became faint, drowned out by the roaring in Chumley's ears. The courtroom began to spin, and Chumley's lawyer noticed that something was wrong. He placed a firm hand on his client's arm, but it was still not enough to stop the escalating tension. Suddenly, Chumley collapsed forward. Security rushed towards him as the sound of his labored breathing echoed throughout the courtroom. Chumley, who had built his career on his carefree and lovable persona on screen, had now fainted right in the courtroom. Photographers present captured the scene, and it immediately became the main topic in entertainment headlines worldwide. His physical collapse was not just a shock, but it also highlighted the mental strain he had been facing throughout the trial. Outside the courtroom, Chumley's colleagues and friends, including Rick Harrison, came to visit him. Although Chumley's condition had many people worried, his fans gathered, expressing their shock and concern about the dramatic ending of the trial. Social media and entertainment sites quickly exploded with anxiety and words of encouragement for Chumley, with hashtags like #ChumleyStrong and #PawnStarsFamily appearing everywhere. Three days after the courtroom incident, Chumley's signature smile returned. He released a video from his home, in which he acknowledged and faced the consequences of his actions. In the video, Chumley tried to keep things lighthearted, but it was clear he was very serious. "Facing better choices, I know the doctor was right," he said, trying to regain some humor, even though his health and mental state had not fully recovered. Nevertheless, there was a noticeable shift in his public persona. Chumley began to change his perspective on himself and his career, and in a surprising turn of events, executives from History Channel were reportedly supportive of him continuing on Pawn Stars after his recovery. According to an anonymous source, the network saw his legal issues as an opportunity to develop a true redemption storyline. Although no official confirmation was made about future plans or specific deals, Chumley's next statement seemed more serious than ever. "Fame clouded my judgment, and I made a mistake that could cost me everything," he shared in a serious statement. "I'm grateful for this second chance, and I promise my fans I won't waste it." With a new mindset, Chumley seemed to be focusing on restoring his legal business activities and fully complying with the court's requirements. While his fans expressed strong support, Chumley maintained a humble attitude and emphasized that his priority now was to focus on his health and make better decisions in the future. When asked about the possibility of returning to television, he responded cautiously, "Right now, I'm just focusing on being healthy and making better decisions. The show has been my family for many years, and I hope to make them proud again." Chumley's legal battle has changed the trajectory of his life, and it seems to have given him a real redemption story to tell. Media observers note that Chumley, instead of sinking into scandal, is shifting his focus toward positive things and moving forward. His fans are hopeful for a comeback, not only in his personal life but also in his television career. With strong support from his fan community and a second chance from the network, people can't help but speculate about what lies ahead for this television star. A comeback could be a major shift, not only in his career but also in Chumley's public image. The highlight, rather than a shameful end to his career, is that the interest in Pawn Stars remains strong. with many fans expressing support for Chumley's eventual return to the show that made him famous. These fans have followed his journey from an unknown pawnshop employee to a TV star. The Courtroom TV show could serve as a sobering reminder of the traps of fame. The collapse left viewers shocked, not just seeing a man reach his breaking point, but possibly marking the beginning of a more authentic public persona, finally emerging from behind the carefree character. What do you think about this change? Leave your comments below the video, share your thoughts, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next exciting stories.